Your MCP server needs environment variables, but manually adding them to each client's JSON configuration is tedious and error-prone. We'll use FastMCP install MCP JSON to generate standardized MCP configuration that includes both individual environment variables through env flags and entire env files with env file. The output creates a complete server configuration with command, args, and env sections that you can directly integrate into any MCP client's MCP server's object. No more guessing at JSON structure or missing critical settings. Hash individual environment variables. FastMCP install MCP JSON server. Hi \, env API KEY equals your secret key \, env debug equals true. Hash load from info. FastMCP install MCP JSON server. Hi env file env. This generates standardized MCP JSON configuration files that define how servers should be executed across different environments. The approach creates a structured definition containing the command, arguments, and environment variables needed to run an MCP server, packaged in a format that can be consumed by MCP-compatible clients. The key distinction is that it produces machine-readable configuration rather than requiring manual setup or hard-coded values. The pattern works by externalizing all runtime parameters into a declarative JSON structure that clients can interpret. Environment variables can be specified individually through env, flags, or loaded in bulk from env files using envfile, with both methods combining their values rather than overriding. The generated configuration includes the server command, typically uv, execution arguments, and any specified environment variables, which can then be copied to clipboard with copy or saved to files for distribution. This approach solves the problem of consistent server configuration across different development and production environments. By generating configuration that can be loaded via MCP server config from file or added to a client's MCP server's object, it ensures servers run with the same parameters regardless of where they're deployed. The trade-off is the initial setup of configuration files, but this is offset by eliminating environment-specific issues and enabling reproducible server behavior across teams and CI/CD pipelines. Let's break it down line by line. Hash individual environment variables. FastMCP install MCP JSON server. Hi \. This installs MCP JSON as a FastMCP tool and binds it to server. Pi, generating an MCP configuration JSON file. The command creates the foundational setup for exposing Python functions to AI models through the MCP protocol. The configuration includes command, arguments, and environment sections, supporting different transports like SDDO and HTTP. Use copy to output directly to clipboard or load later via MCP server config from file. Env API KEY equals your secret key \. Injects the API key environment variable during MCP configuration generation. Required for runtime authentication without hard-coding credentials, following 12-factor app principles for environment-specific settings. The env flag embeds these variables directly into the generated MCP config, JSON, under the env section. Env debug equals true. This injects the debug environment variable directly during MCP JSON generation. Environment variables configure runtime behavior without code changes, enabling debug logging or development features when needed. The env flag sets individual variables while keeping configurations separate from implementation. Hash load from info. FastMCP install MCP JSON server. Hi env file env. This loads environment variables from an env file into the MCP server configuration, following the 12-factor app principle of storing config in the environment. The generated JSON includes command, args, and env sections that define how the server executes, with support for different transports like SDDO and HTTP. Use FastMCP inspect to validate the final configuration before deployment, or add copy to pipe the output directly to your clipboard for easy integration into the client's MCP server's object. MCP configuration generation. The FastMCP install command creates standardized MCP configuration JSON that defines how servers should be launched, including environment variables, runtime arguments, and execution details. Environment variables specified through env flags are merged with the server's execution context, but the exact precedence when combined with env file depends on the MCP client implementation. Always verify your configuration matches expectations using FastMCP inspect format MCP to see what clients will actually receive.
The server configuration that becomes data loses its instructions, yet gains every possible execution